Hey, it's Danny. Welcome to week 3. This week, we're going to be talking a little bit about time management, okay? And more specifically, how to master your time, okay? So the first thing that we want to just think about a little bit is, what are your current thoughts about how you're spending your time? Do you think that you're too busy to get things done that you want to? Do you feel like there's not enough time in your day? What are your current thoughts, okay? And we want to really even investigate this idea of what does it even mean to be busy? What does the word busy mean? Because really being busy is just, if you're just occupying your time, right? So if you're busy, it doesn't really specify what you're doing, like if it's really something useful or if you're just doing whatever, right? It's just you're occupying your time. So if you're busy, or if you say you're busy, that means you're just occupying more of your time. And maybe you're doing things you want to be doing and maybe you're not, okay? So really thinking that we're busy or that we don't have enough time for something is really just evidence of a mismanaged mind. Okay, so just think about time, and we think that maybe at some point we're going to have more time than we do right now, but really that's actually not true, right? Because time is constant and it never changes, and we are never going to have more time ever than we do right now. We're always going to have 24 hours in a day, right? And what if instead of wanting to be busy with our time, what if we wanted to be intentional with our time and spend our time how we want to? Okay, so really the only thing we can change is how we manage our brain and our thinking around the time that we have, because we're never going to get more of it, okay? So really quickly, we're just going to take a brief little dip into some time management tips and how you can manage your brain around your time better. And hopefully be spending the time how you really want to. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is look at the results we have in our life currently, meaning how are you spending your time that you have now? Are you spending it working? Are you working out every day? What do you want to be doing with the time you have, and what are you actually doing? Because how you're currently spending your time is going to tell us a lot about your current priorities, right? If you're working 12 hours a day and you're not maybe working out or doing whatever, maybe your priority is your job. Okay. And the idea of things that you think you have to be doing, really, there's nothing that we have to do. Okay. And if you're whoa, wait, I have to go to work. I have to take care of my kids. I have to pay my taxes. Okay. I would just offer that you really don't have to do any of those things. There's millions of people in the world that wake up every morning and don't go to work. And there's lots of people who don't take care of their kids, who don't pay child support, who don't spend very much time with them. There's lots of people who don't take care of their kids, right? And there's also lots of people who don't pay their taxes. Okay, so really you don't have to do anything. And maybe you're choosing to do some of these things because you don't want to go to jail, or because you want to have a job, or you like the benefits that having a job provides you, like a steady paycheck and benefits and all these things, right? So you're choosing these things for a reason, okay? And because you feel like it's a useful thing for you to do. So just recognize that, right? You don't have to do anything really ever. And what are you choosing to do currently? Okay. So first thing we want to do, if we want to get a handle on how we're spending our time, is we got to create a results list, right? What are your priorities? How are you currently spending your time? Take a look at that. And then what are your actual priorities? Is your health a priority? Because really, for me, my health is a super priority, because if I get sick, then I can't take care of my kids and I can't do anything that I love doing. I can't play in volleyball tournaments. If I'm sick and I'm not feeling good, then everything else is a struggle, right? So really my health is number one, because without my health, I can't do any of the things that I want to do. Okay. So, so really create a list of your priorities. So I have a couple examples here on our little notes board, but personal priorities would be working out, self-care, getting your hair done, getting your nails done, anything like that. Time for you, even if it's just I want to watch Netflix for 2 hours a day, whatever it is, right? Your self-care things that you want, that all goes in your personal. Okay. Family things, how much time you want to spend with your husband, with your kids, with your family, whatever. How much is family time a priority? How much is your business or your job a priority? And then spiritual things spending time in your church or service to your community or whatever it is. What are your actual priorities, and what's going to come first? So you got to create a results list of things you want to be having in your life. So if you want to be working out every day, if you want to be going to work for 8 hours a day, if you want to be eating healthier, whatever it is, like whatever those priorities are, you got to write them down. You got to be really clear on what your priorities are, because if you don't know, then you're just going to be kind of at the effect of whatever happens in your life. And you may or may not be spending your time how you really want to. Okay, so first thing is creating a results list with your priorities. Okay, and then the second thing you need to do is be willing to be wrong about all of it. Okay, so if you think that you don't have enough time to eat healthy and work out and do all these things, like be willing to be wrong about that. Like, what if it were possible that you could work out, do your job, take care of your kids, all the things that you really want to do that are on your priorities list? What if it were possible that you could do all of them? And if your brain is providing you a lot of resistance, like just be willing to question that. Like, what if I had to? What if I had to be able to do all these things tomorrow, or else, I don't know, something terrible would happen? Like, what if I had to? What if there was like a really compelling reason for you to figure it out? And you just had the idea, like, I just have to work with what I've got, but I got to get all this stuff in. Okay, like just question being wrong about like maybe you could, and know that your brain loves to be right. Okay, so it's gonna give you lots of evidence for how you haven't been able to do it in the past and why you can't do it. Okay, like how you've been doing it and how you've been spending your time is the only way. It's really the only option. Okay, so know that your brain loves to be right, and just question all of it. All right, and the third thing that's really, really important if you want to manage your time is to plan ahead. Right, and that means that when you have your results list and your priorities, you put them in like a spot on your calendar on your day for whatever day, right? So like things you have to go to, like if I'm at work from 9 to 5, I'm going to write that, I'm going to block that out. If I have a dentist appointment, if I have something else, like you're going to write all that out, you're going to put it on your calendar, and then you're going to like make sure that the things, how you want to be spending your time, they have a spot on your calendar. Okay. And just planning ahead and sticking to your plan. We're going to talk about that in a second, but it's really important too, to know that like how you do this, like how you plan ahead, there's no system or no like calendar or app or anything that's going to make it easier for you. Okay. Or that's going to work for you, I should say. There's some things that'll make it easier, but nothing's really going to work for you. Like working systems don't just happen. Like we, the people, make the systems work. Okay. So it's going to be really individual, and you got to figure out whatever works for you. It could be that you put it in your phone. It could be you just write it down, whatever it is, like you have to, figure that out for you, what's going to work for you, and just be really deliberate and really intentional when you're planning this time, and maybe identify like some obstacles you might have, like if traffic is going to be, take longer or whatever, so things take longer than you think they will, like make sure you're like adjusting that every day, like if something's taking you longer than you think it will. Okay, and the last thing is you have to commit no matter what to your plan. Whenever we're planning ahead, we're using our prefrontal cortex, like our highest self, like the best version of us that like has our best interests at heart, what we really, really want. And if we're planning ahead, we're tapping into that and we're using it. But in the moment, our toddler brain's going to take over and it's going to want us to do whatever we feel like in the moment. Okay. So it's really important that we stick to what we planned ahead of time, because that's our best self, what we really want for ourselves. That's where that's coming from. And that's why we planned it out. So make sure that you're deciding to commit to your plan no matter what. There's no excuses. There's no exceptions unless there's like an absolute emergency. Like nothing is going to derail you from sticking to your plan that you have created for how you're going to be spending your time. And I love the idea that discomfort, it's going to feel really uncomfortable for you to stick to a plan and do all that. But like you can either be uncomfortable in the short term and do things that you planned and maybe you don't feel like doing, and know that you're never going to feel like doing things like working out. You're probably never going to feel like working out necessarily. Maybe you will, but if you do, that's a bonus. You're probably not going to. But you're trading that for for long-term discomfort, right? So you're going to continue to not be the weight you want to be, or not be spending your time how you really want to be spending it long-term if you don't want to be uncomfortable in the moment. So know that you're not going to feel like it, and know that you're going to do it anyways. And that is how we are going to master our time this week. We're going to work on it. So good luck.